Ulysses S. Grant's life story explained in 1 minute. Did you know one of America's greatest heroes was once so broke he sold firewood on street corners? Ulysses Grant was born in 1822 in Ohio. As a young man, he failed at everything. His farming business collapsed. His leather goods store went bankrupt. He tried selling real estate and failed again. Grant became so desperate he sold firewood door to door just to feed his family. Then the Civil War changed everything. Grant joined as an unknown colonel but quickly showed incredible military skills. He won battle after battle while other generals failed. President Lincoln noticed and promoted him to commanding general of all Union forces. Grant's aggressive strategy finally defeated the Confederacy and saved the United States. He became a national hero overnight. Lincoln trusted him completely, and together they preserved the Union. After the war, Grant was elected president twice. His presidency had both major achievements and serious scandals, but he helped rebuild America during Reconstruction. Grant's story proves that failure doesn't define you. Sometimes you just need to find your true calling. Alexander the Great's life story explained in 1 minute. Alexander the Great was born in 356 BC in Macedonia. His father, Philip II, was a powerful king, and his teacher was the famous philosopher Aristotle. When Alexander was just 20, his father was assassinated. Alexander quickly took control and crushed all rebellions. He then set his sights on the massive Persian Empire. In 334 BC, Alexander crossed into Asia with 35,000 soldiers. He never lost a single battle. He defeated the Persians at every turn, conquering their entire empire in just 3 years. He pushed all the way to India, but his exhausted troops finally refused to go further. Alexander spread Greek culture across 3 continents and created the largest empire the ancient world had ever seen. He founded over 20 cities, many named Alexandria after himself. But at just 32 years old, Alexander mysteriously died in Babylon. Some say poison, others say fever. In 12 short years, he had conquered most of the known world and became a legend that still inspires people today. Winston Churchill's life story explained in 1 minute. Winston Churchill was born in 1874 to a wealthy British family. He became a soldier and politician, but his early career was filled with disasters. In 1915, Churchill planned the Gallipoli campaign during World War I. It was a complete failure that killed thousands and nearly destroyed his career. He was forced to resign in disgrace. During the 1930s, Churchill spent years in the political wilderness. He warned Britain about the growing threat from Germany, but everyone ignored him. Politicians called him a warmonger, and his career seemed finished. Then in 1940, when Britain faced its darkest hour in World War II, the country desperately needed strong leadership. At age 65, Churchill became Prime Minister. His powerful speeches inspired the British people during the worst bombing campaigns. He refused to surrender when everyone expected Britain to fall. His famous words, "We shall never surrender," rallied not just Britain, but the entire free world. Churchill's story proves that even the greatest failures can become the greatest triumphs when the moment demands it. Thomas Jefferson's life story explained in 1 minute. Thomas Jefferson was born in 1743 in Virginia to a wealthy plantation family. He studied law and became a brilliant writer and lawyer in his 20s. At just 33 years old, Jefferson wrote the Declaration of Independence with the famous words, "All men are created equal." Yet he owned hundreds of enslaved people on his plantation, creating a contradiction that would define his life. During the Revolutionary War, he served as ambassador to France, helping secure crucial support for America's independence. Jefferson didn't stop there. He became the 3rd president in 1801. His greatest achievement was the Louisiana Purchase in 1803, which doubled America's size for just $15 million. This deal gave the young nation vast new territories stretching to the Pacific. After his presidency, Jefferson founded the University of Virginia, but struggled with massive debt from his lavish lifestyle. He died on July 4, 1826, exactly 50 years after his declaration was signed. Jefferson's story shows how even brilliant minds can hold deep contradictions while shaping history. Yuri Gagarin's life story explained in 1 minute. Yuri Gagarin was born in 1934 on a small farm in Russia. During World War II, his family was forced to live in a mud hut when enemy forces occupied their village. Young Yuri watched planes fly overhead and dreamed of soaring through the sky. After the war, Gagarin joined the Soviet Air Force and learned to fly fighter jets. His skill caught the attention of the secret space program. Out of thousands of pilots, they chose him for the most dangerous mission in human history. On April 12, 1961, Gagarin climbed into a tiny metal capsule called Vostok 1. No human had ever left Earth before. For 108 minutes, he orbited our planet at 17,000 miles per hour. When he landed safely, the world was stunned. The farm boy had become the most famous person on Earth overnight. Gagarin traveled the globe as a hero, meeting world leaders and inspiring millions. Tragically, just 7 years later, he died in a mysterious plane crash at only 34 years old. From mud hut to the stars, Gagarin proved that ordinary people can achieve the impossible. Hannibal's life story explained in 1 minute. At age 9, Hannibal swore an oath to his father to forever hate Rome. This promise would nearly destroy the greatest empire in ancient history. Born in 247 BC, Hannibal grew up in Carthage during its wars with Rome. After his father's defeat, young Hannibal vowed revenge. He became a brilliant military commander in Spain, winning battle after battle. In 218 BC, Hannibal made an impossible decision. He would attack Rome from the north by crossing the deadly Alps with 90,000 men and 37 war elephants. Most thought he was insane. The journey was brutal. Freezing temperatures, avalanches, and hostile tribes killed half his army. But Hannibal survived and shocked the world. For 16 years, he crushed Roman armies across Italy. Rome panicked as Hannibal controlled most of their territory. Yet he could never capture Rome itself. Eventually, Carthage recalled him home. At the Battle of Zama, Rome finally defeated him. Years later, facing capture, Hannibal chose poison over surrender. One man's genius and determination came closer than anyone to ending Rome's empire. Christopher Columbus's life story explained in 1 minute. Christopher Columbus was born in 1451 in Genoa, Italy, the son of a struggling wool weaver. He dreamed of sailing west to reach Asia, but everyone thought he was crazy. For years, Columbus begged European kings and queens to fund his impossible voyage. Portugal rejected him. England said no. France turned him down. Most experts believed he would sail off the edge of the world or die in the endless ocean. Finally, in 1492, Spain's Queen Isabella agreed to sponsor his journey after conquering Granada. Columbus set sail with 3 small ships and 90 men. On October 12, 1492, he spotted land. Columbus thought he had reached Asia, but he had actually discovered the Americas. This single voyage connected 2 worlds that had been separated for thousands of years. Columbus made 3 more trips to the New World, establishing permanent contact between Europe and the Americas. He died in 1506, still believing he had found a route to Asia, never knowing he had changed human history forever. Columbus's story proves how one person's stubborn belief can reshape civilization. Xerxes' life story explained in 1 minute. Xerxes inherited the largest empire in history from his father Darius in 480 BC. But he had one burning obsession: revenge against the Greeks who had defeated Persian forces years earlier. In 480 BC, Xerxes assembled the largest army the ancient world had ever seen. Over 1 million soldiers from across his vast empire. He built massive bridges across the Hellespont Strait to march his forces into Europe. Early victories made Xerxes believe he was unstoppable. Then came Thermopylae. 300 Spartan warriors led by King Leonidas held off his entire army for 3 days. Though the Spartans eventually fell, they bought Greece precious time. Xerxes pushed forward and burned Athens, but his massive fleet was destroyed at the Battle of Salamis. His army suffered crushing defeats that followed. The king who commanded millions was forced into a humiliating retreat back to Persia. Xerxes' story became legendary, showing how unlimited power and pride can lead to spectacular downfall. His defeat at the hands of a few Greek city-states remains one of history's greatest upsets, inspiring stories for over 2,000 years. Theodore Roosevelt's life story explained in 1 minute. Theodore Roosevelt was born in 1858 as a sickly, asthmatic child who could barely breathe. Doctors said he might not survive to adulthood, but young Teddy refused to accept weakness. He built his own gym and transformed his frail body through pure determination and relentless exercise. After graduating from Harvard, tragedy struck in 1884. His wife and mother died on the same day. Devastated, Roosevelt fled to the Dakota wilderness where he became a cowboy and rancher. He returned to politics stronger than ever. When the Spanish-American War began, Roosevelt formed the Rough Riders Cavalry Unit and led a famous charge up San Juan Hill, becoming a national hero. In 1901, at just 42 years old, he became America's youngest president after McKinley's assassination. Roosevelt took on powerful corporations, created national parks, and won the Nobel Peace Prize for stopping wars between other nations. The sickly child who wasn't supposed to live became the most energetic president in American history, proving that willpower can overcome any obstacle. Joseph Stalin's life story explained in 1 minute. Joseph Stalin was born in 1879 in Georgia as Ioseb Jugashvili. He studied at a seminary but became a revolutionary instead, robbing banks to fund the communist cause. When the Russian Revolution happened in 1917, Stalin was just a minor player. Brilliant leaders like Trotsky and others completely overlooked him. They saw him as a quiet, unimportant Georgian who handled boring administrative tasks. This was their biggest mistake. After Lenin died in 1924, Stalin used his control over party appointments to slowly eliminate every rival. He outmaneuvered Trotsky and had him exiled, then murdered. By the 1930s, Stalin controlled the entire Soviet Union. He forced rapid industrialization that killed millions of farmers through starvation. During World War II, he led the Soviets to victory against Germany, becoming one of the most powerful men on Earth. In his final years, Stalin became completely paranoid, purging even his closest allies. When he died in 1953, he controlled 1/6 of the world's land. Stalin's story shows how a dismissed outsider became history's most feared dictator through patience and ruthless cunning. Nelson Mandela's life story explained in 1 minute. Nelson Mandela was born in 1918 in a small South African village as the son of a tribal chief. He moved to Johannesburg where he first witnessed the brutal reality of apartheid, a system that separated black and white people. Mandela started as a peaceful activist fighting for equal rights. When peaceful protests failed, he turned to armed resistance and was captured by police. At his famous trial, he declared he was ready to die for freedom. He spent 27 years in prison on Robben Island. During this time, he became a worldwide symbol of resistance. International pressure grew so strong that South Africa finally had to release him in 1990. Here's what shocked everyone. Instead of seeking revenge, Mandela chose forgiveness and reconciliation. He worked with his former enemies to end apartheid peacefully. In 1994, he became South Africa's first black president. When his term ended, he stepped down peacefully, avoiding the civil war many predicted. Mandela's story proves that forgiveness and principle can transform not just a nation, but inspire the entire world. Albert Einstein's life story explained in 1 minute. Did you know Einstein was never actually bad at math? That's just a myth. He mastered calculus by age 15 and graduated with excellent grades. Albert Einstein was born in 1879 in Germany. After college, he couldn't find teaching work anywhere, so he took a job at a Swiss patent office, reviewing inventions during the day. But in 1905, while still working this ordinary job, Einstein had the most incredible year in science history. He published 4 papers that changed everything we know about reality. One included his famous equation E equals mc squared, proving that matter and energy are the same thing. By 1919, he became the world's most famous scientist. When the situation in Germany became dangerous, Einstein fled to America in 1933. During World War II, he wrote a letter to President Roosevelt that helped start the atomic bomb project. Later, he regretted this decision. Einstein spent his final decades searching for a theory of everything that would explain the entire universe. He never found it, but his curiosity and persistence made him history's greatest scientific mind.